Hi beautiful souls, it's Tan here again today with another video for you on this channel, and today we're going to be looking at the zodiac sign, zodiac degrees of the sign of Leo from 13.15 degrees to 18.52 degrees, the path to virtue. Oh, it's a beautiful windy day. And that is in correspondence with gene key number 7 in Human Design. It's Human Design Gate 7. So if you have any of these gates, gene keys, or zodiac degrees, you can watch this video. So we currently have an online astrology platform where you can connect with me and other astrology enthusiasts out there. The platform is called Astrology for the Uranian Souls. So if you would like to join us, you can of course do so, and I'll provide a link to that platform in the description box below. See you there. So with this particular archetype of Leo and Gate 7, Gene Key 7, you are moving from, at the shadow level, division, to guidance, the power behind the throne, to virtue, repairing the world. And this is in correspondence in the dream arc totem vision key, the bird of the Kiwi. At the fear level, it is the caterpillar. At the life key, it's the ram. In the 64 hexagrams of the I-Ching, this hexagram is called discipline. It is earth over water. It's about trusting and following the current of love inside to lead others with the heart. This genetic codon is corresponding to Valine, which is a stimulant activity. It is part of the ring of union. It is about purification of human relationships and the collective leadership. The programming partner of this particular archetype is Gate 13 in Gene Key 13, which is in correspondence with the zodiac sign of Aquarius from 13.15 to 18.52 degrees. And the programming partner is going to be the opposite point that offers a complement and a balance to this particular archetype. In Human Design, this gate is located in the G center. It's part of the channel 731, the channel of the alpha, or the channel of facilitation, part of the stream of service. Alright, so first we're going to start off talking a little bit about the typical characteristics of the Kiwi. What an interesting and cute bird it is. So the Kiwi, unlike other birds, it cannot fly. It has fur-like feathers instead of feather-like feathers, which most birds would have. So in comparison to other birds, the Kiwi is a bit of an oddball, and he's a little bit of a strange bird. But the Kiwi is gifted with nostrils that at the end or at the tip of it, it is guided more by smell rather than by sight. So the Kiwi has an ability to smell things that are further away that a lot of people can't see, but it does have poor vision. The Kiwi has evolved so much that it now has characteristics that's very similar to mammals rather than birds. But what's really cool about the Kiwi is that the eggs of a Kiwi tends to occupy about 20% of the size of its Kiwi female body, the female Kiwi's body, because there's a lot of yolk that actually covers the baby chick in the egg, so that when the baby chick actually hatches, it is able to already be fully independent without too much help and guidance from the parents. So it's already like growing and evolving inside the mother's stomach. The Kiwi's characteristics is that it's quite a shy bird. It's quite a humble bird. It likes to kind of like hide and run away, but it can be very territorial and protective. But most importantly, it can sense prey moving under the ground. It can sense a lot of the things that a lot of other birds can't sense through the sense of smell. In fact, researchers have shown that the vibration of feeling the prey's vibration may actually be very important to the hungry Kiwi rather than even the smell. So if you have this particular archetype, you may be somebody who may appear to others as a little bit more timid or shy, or you could be the opposite, meaning that you may appear to others as being very authoritative or being very much of a leader. But generally, you are an independent by nature and you are more self-guided rather than needing other people to influence or guide you in life. So the thing about this disbalance of being timid and shy and being too authoritative is that, well, part of your journey is going to be finding a balance of both. Because when you are being timid and shy, it can lead you may notice in your life that you draw people to you who are kind of authoritative and they dominate your life. And then you may have to compensate by being a little bit forceful and authoritative, and in return you become way too dominant towards other people. So that's the extremes of this placement. The Kiwi having the symbol of having an egg that is way bigger than it should be, 20% of its body, also indicates that you could be somebody who is looking to or is very ambitious about giving birth to ideas and projects that are so big, way bigger than you alone can handle, meaning that these particular dreams and projects that you have will need you to cooperate with other people and get other people as a part of your team in order to carry out particular ideas and projects. So at the lower vibration of this energy, when you're in the shadow of it, you experience division. And division comes when there is an unequal distribution of power. You are working to transform from becoming somebody who at the shadow vibration may feel that power is gained through force, to becoming somebody who can gain power through inspiration. So force can be physical force, meaning that you are actually like going out there, taking action, doing things that's kind of like running over other people so that you can get what you want in your life. But force can also be forced by numbers. Think about democracy and the shadow side of democracy. The shadow side of democracy is bribery. So there can be this element to you if you are at the shadow vibration of it. Buying people's vote, buying the people's power. Why? What happens? Why does this shadow work in this way? It's because there is more lust for power rather than the desire for goodwill. So the interesting thing about the Kiwi and sensing vibrations and sensing smell is that this is a metaphor. I feel like this is a metaphor for the fact that if the collective or the society is operating at a lower vibration or lower frequency, the society and the collective is going to be more prone to selecting or choosing leaders who are going to be that type of power-hungry leader. A leader who is more focused on ambition rather than virtue, more focused on power rather than goodwill. Because there is a very psychological aspect to this. If you think about, for example, let's say a guide or a spiritual leader that somebody elects, as a leader of particular communities, and this person has an ambition to be famous or to make money or to continue to make more money than other people or to have better living conditions than others. What this type of a leader who is driven for power and ambition is going to do is they're going to advise you or bring about strategies for certain problems and solutions to you that addresses your weakness but doesn't really offer enough solution. So what happens is that you have to keep coming back to them for some support, some guidance. But they will continue to withhold proper solutions so that you can keep coming back, so that you can keep feeding them with the fame, with their ability to have power and ambition. So that's what can happen at the shadow frequency. Or you may find the opposite of this, because life is yin and yang. So you may actually not be the person who is in the authority at the shadow frequency. You may be somebody who is more of the victim in the situation. So you're not the one who is the ambitious one who keeps people coming back to you to feed on your power, but you could be the one who is needing guidance from other people, needing to find somebody to provide you with support and with guidance, and you become the person who chooses leaders who are dominant and authoritative and power hungry, but you're not aware that you're doing it, so you are put in a position of weakness and you have to keep going back to them. So that can be two extremes at the shadow vibration of this archetype. So in order to transcend the shadow level and get to the gift level of this archetype, this is really interesting, is to take the power into your own hands. It's to not rely on power from an external source. So if you can see in the shadow, both of those situations, you're relying on power from other people. It's not coming from inside of you. If you are seeking for power from outside of you, you are corrupted by power. In order to stop seeking power from outside of you, it will require you to live with no fear, with the understanding that nobody really can impact your life if you don't let them. Whether you are the victim situation or the authority situation, you are in charge of your own life. You cannot let other people dictate your life. Then you now have the power in your own hands. And a guide, a spiritual guide, a leader who is operating with no fear is a leader who is simply there for the purpose of service, to serve you, to be like a light, to support you, to support and empower individuals. This requires a really wonderful skill that if you have this archetype, you probably have, and that is the skill of listening. Listening to the needs of other people without judgment, without an agenda, and sometimes without really needing to make yourself say anything in return. Because sometimes people come for guidance and all they need is somebody who is there to listen, because once they can get out their words to someone, they already know the answer to their own problems or the solutions to their own problems. And this is really interesting. I want to give you guys an example of my sister, who actually has this particular archetype in her Astrology, Gene Key, Human Design. And there was this period when I was around like 23 years old, and I was, just got out of a really bad breakup in a relationship, and I didn't know what to do with my life. And, I was telling her about all of this, and she listened, and she said one thing to me. She said, "You should travel alone, maybe to Nepal." I don't know where she got that from, but she has been listening to me my entire life, and she knew exactly what to say so that I could recover from that situation and gain power, empower myself again. And it worked, and I did not need to go back to her anymore. I took that light and I made it into something by myself. And this is the guidance that you are so gifted with if you have this archetype. So I feel that this is kind of just like the Kiwi bird that is really intuitive and uses other senses like smell and feeling the vibrations. That's like feeling things about other people that is a little bit intuitive and under the surface, just kind of like my sister did it. She was feeling me her whole life. And so if you have this, you have a gift of being intuitive about future patterns and what is needed to be said to guide somebody at a specific moment, so that that particular guidance is going to benefit them in the future with regards to the patterns that you're perceiving that this person is going to carry out in their future life, or even the society. If we're talking at a more like societal leadership type of a level. So you have an ability to create space for team harmony and become the facilitator, trusting the process of your team and what they need to do, and sort of stepping back from particular teamwork and being the facilitator instead of always needing to be there to lead, to tell people what to do, to kind of give orders. And this requires trusting in the process of life. If you are intuitive about future patterns, past patterns, you know that things happen in the way that they should happen, and you are able to be a great facilitator because you trust in the process of life. At the highest destiny for you is a destiny of virtue. What does this actually mean? Every day, everyone actually, people around the world are doing small little acts of goodness, small little acts of virtue that may go unseen, but together they amount to something very powerful. So, these acts of virtue can just simply be a mother actually taking her on her responsibility of feeding her baby. It can be, you are bringing a glass of water to somebody who is feeling thirsty. Maybe that person is your brother, and you bring them a glass of water. Without really thinking like there needs to be anything given to you in return. These little acts of goodness, of goodwill, this is virtue. And it's natural and it's nature. It is nature. So therefore, there is power in virtue that can offset the powers of chaos, or the powers of, shall we say, bad behaviors or immoral behaviors in the world. Virtue always exists. It is part of nature. And like a bee going to a flower, drinking its nectar, and naturally spreads and pollinates plants, pollinates flowers. That is an act of virtue from the bee. When you do on a daily basis little acts of goodness from your goodwill, you begin to repair the little fragments of your soul that, we are as a soul united before we came into this time and space dimension in this body. Coming into this time and space dimension in this body causes fragmentation. And to piece your soul back together, piece these fragments back together, requires acts of goodness, acts of virtue. Because we are all connected, right? As a collective, we're all one and the same. And when you do these little acts of virtue, you repair not just yourself, but of another person. And then somebody comes and repairs you, and then you begin to repair another person. And it's like this beautiful fabric, interwoven fabric of healing. If you have this archetype and you're operating from a place of virtue, you are living as a perfected form of the futuristic type of a human being in the upcoming Aquarian age. The human being that is no longer operating on fear and needing power, and is operating from service and goodwill. Richard Rudd illustrates the working of this particular gene key number 7 and its programming partner gene key number 13 really well as being the sign of the Ouroboros, the snake that goes around and eats its tail again. And the 13th gene key represents the beginning, the flowering of the seed, and the 7th represents the ending of it. The Ouroboros symbol is a representation of the cycles of life and death and rebirth that's never ending. And the tail of the snake actually is a phallic symbol and kind of represents, the male genital. And the mouth of the snake is more of a yoni symbol representing the female reproductive organ. And so therefore, both of them have to work together. And these two archetypes represents the understanding of the cycles of the collective growth that has been happening over time. Every time there is a death of one person, there's a birth of a new person. And the birth of the new person over time, causes different generations. Human beings are evolving over time, and in order to keep evolving over time, we need the death and we need the birth, the Ouroboros. We need the death and the birth. And so when you have this type of understanding, if you have the gene key 7 or gene key 13, you know what it is that the next generation is going to look like. You're perceiving patterns of the next generation, and therefore you can become what is required of us in the future. And therefore you are here to be a leader of the future generation that is about to bloom and flower. You are an example or a leader or a guide in this age of Aquarius that we're all going through, for the people to become the new type of human being that we are going to slowly evolve into. And we are never the same. If you have this archetype, you know that we are never the same. We think that, we think that, okay, we've got like different generations, right? But even within one generation, it's never the same. Every time there's a new human being being born, they're already bringing something different into the world. So yes, if you have this, you are a leader of virtue, the type of leader that we really need in our continuous evolution of our species of human being, and especially in the next future generation. So that is going to be my interpretation of Gene Key number 7, Human Design Gate 7, the Zodiac Degrees of Leo from 13 to 15 degrees to 18 to 52 degrees. So if you have this, I highly recommend that you also watch the video for your programming partner, which is Gene Key number 13, Gate number 13, Aquarius from 13.15 to 18.52 degrees. I do astrology, natal chart readings, relationship, synastry readings, all types of readings. You can email me if you would like to look into your human design or your gene keys while you get a reading from me, an astrology reading while you get an astrology reading from me. And yes, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button below if you haven't. If you already subscribed, then thank you very much, beautiful souls. And leave in the comment sections below what you think of this video. I'll see you soon then. Bye.